Hello everyone, it's Adam here. I get, well, I think people watch my videos. There's a camp of people that have been working on motorcycles for years and just want to see a hands-on look at the part they're about to buy. Just not really about the install, it's kind of about the build quality of the part, how it looks on the bike and kind of the final product and that kind of thing. There's another camp of people who are actually watching the video because they would like help with the install and they're more visual than they are with the part, with the instruction guide, the piece of paper. But I also get a bunch of emails, I would say like one a week, or a comment every other couple of days about like, hey, can you link to the parts using your videos? And there is a link to an Amazon store. Some of them are out of date. And so I wanted to run through, this video is all gonna be about what you need to work on a BMW motorcycle. Pretty, there's gonna be some specialty tools you're gonna need, but basically I'm gonna show you a core group of things, and then I'm going to bring out a couple of other things that I've used over the years that are like extras that you'll probably buy along the way, but that's how tools work, right? So I'm gonna start off with the main bit of kit, and I'll link to this below, but this is a Wera, I think it's a 3/8, is it a 3/8 inch? Yeah, 3/8 inch metric kit. This was about $300, lifetime guarantee. It comes with most of what you're gonna need to tear down almost any BMW. You're gonna have a couple of things that are hard to reach. You have to make some adaptations, but this is the 375. It's the 8100 SB2 is what it's the code is. It's on Amazon. Was like $275 when I bought it. 3/8 inch. The ratchet is super cool, by the way. You've got a fully articulating head that can actually stop in like 8 different positions. Obviously, can be for tightening or loosening. Well built. These are nice. They spin in place, so you have a little bit of spin there. It has some extenders, have some 90-degree elbows, and it has some loosey-gooseys, as I like to call them. And then it has some bit holders as well. You have size 6 all the way up to size 24 for your sockets. And then you've got a few different Torxes, like all the way from T15 to T30, and then size 4 to like 9, is it a 9? 10 hex bits. This thing's pretty cool. Obviously, it's not going to give you torque specs, but it gets you loosey-goosey and righty-tighty on pretty much everything you're gonna touch on the bike, if you can reach it. So great bit of kit, I recommend it. I'm gonna move over here a little bit and I'm gonna give you the next thing that's most commonly used for me, and that is this Wera Torx sleeve. And this is, I'll link to it somewhere. Basically it is T8 or 10? T10 through T50. It's a 3/8 inch bit or socket, so you can put it on that driver I just showed you. Hangs wherever. It's not magnetic, but it is Velcro, and I use this for all kinds of stuff. Usually T25 is one of the most common one, followed by T30 and then T40 on the BMWs. You also have here, this is the stainless steel model. This is like the zinc coated model, but these are the size 1.5 to 10 of L-key Allen wrenches. So these obviously come in handy to loosen up all kinds of fun stuff. I also keep with me the Torx equivalent L's for T8 through T40. And these kind of work at a pinch as well. So there are those. A recent addition I made last year was this Flexi bit holder. This is Wera 392. It's a 1/4 inch bit holder. And then I added to it this awesome little kit that is just really nice. The BC30 stainless. It gives you flathead Phillips heads. It gives you Torx bits and hex bits. T10 through T40, different size. So these are pretty cool actually. So I've got this guy that goes in the Flexi bit. This Flexi bit can actually hold quite a bit of torque when you're tightening things down. So highly recommend it. It's nice. As you can see, a trend here, a lot of Wera stuff. I'm going to do a couple specialized things that I found along the way, but I will say a T45, a T50, a T55, and a T60. You're going to need these if you're doing suspension work or any major motor work. If you're not doing anything with the motor or suspension, you'll probably never need these. There's not anything I can think of that goes beyond T50 that isn't like structural suspension, motor related. So keep that in mind. And for this, you'll have to probably go to a 1/4-inch driver and a 1/4-inch torque wrench. So once you get into like larger projects with BMW motors, you're going to need to upgrade to the 1/4-inch driver, 1/4-inch torque wrench, and probably a 1/4-inch breaker bar. And so, you know, throw some money at that one. And when it comes to torque wrenches, get the most expensive one you can afford, because what I found is I bought torque wrenches that only go to like 180 Newton meters. And for some bolts on like the F750 GS's rear swing arm, it was like a 300 or 400 Newton meter torque spec for that. And I had to go buy another 1/4-inch torque wrench that was a higher spec. So just buy the good thing the first time, so you don't have to buy a second one later. It's kind of the common thing. Yep, little locking clamp. These are just come in handy in a pinch. Picks. I have a lot of picks. Let me actually take you over to my pick drawer, show you what we're talking about over here. This is our pick drawer, and I use all of these, believe it or not. We've got long picks, we have half bent picks, we have very bent picks, we've got little tiny screwdrivers, just all kinds of picks of all shapes and sizes that are, some of them bent, I replaced them, some of them I bent them on purpose to get to a certain thing. So just have your picks. I've got some electrician cutters. These are really nice for doing wiring work or cutting wiring looms free. They're very nice and smooth. These are made by Klein Tools. One of my best assets, if you're doing a lot of work with zip ties, are these Klein Tools snips. These snips, because they're angled in the bottom, will lead to a zip tie cut that is, there's no leftover bit. So if you cut this at the base of where the zip tie connector terminates, you won't have any zip tie plastic hanging out to cut your hands on later when you're working on the bike. So these snips here are great for cutting zip ties. So that's my my pick drawer. Picks are highly recommended for any of these projects. We also have these. These are, again, if you're doing suspension work or you're removing the fuel tank and air box, you'll need this to grab some of the hose clamps or clamps that go around the air intake box. Very specialized, unique, but I linked this in my Amazon store. Pry bars. I've got like pry bars of 4 or 5 different sizes. Sometimes you need a pry bar. You just need one. And I used this a couple times during the rear shock install. So pry bar. And then Loctite. There's a couple different kinds of Loctite. There's thousands of different kinds of Loctite. You got 271, 262, and 243 and 242. 242 is the medium strength that is not oil tolerant. So if you have greasy hands or greasy bolts, use 243, which is oil tolerant. 262 is high strength for 3/4-inch fasteners. Then you've got 271 in here, which is even higher strength. So just keep Loctite all in hand. You don't always need it, but good to have it when you do need it. I also have from Weir this Joker set. I've got a couple of these missing right now. They're in one of the bins somewhere around here. But these are awesome tools. Let me just grab like the size 15 here. So the way these are designed is you have, the design is, it will grab almost any size bolt. So from a 12, like a star, like a, what is it called? Anyway, star bolts, heads, or the 6-ways, and then same thing for these, the way they're designed. But it's just a really nice, and these will hold a lot of torque. They're nice and thin. They're easy to grip, and they're just a nice wrench. This is probably $300 for the set. But again, I've never had to buy any other wrenches except for having to buy larger sized ones. But this goes all the way from size 8 to 20. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of a tour here through a couple of boxes of things that are that I've acquired over the years that have made BMW work a little bit easier for me. And we're pretty much done, by the way. And I need to go over the mallet. The mallet's just, you need the mallet sometimes. You just got to bang some shit. That's just got to bang some shit. But using that instead of the metal ones is always good. So got a bunch of packs of zip ties. I like buying the ones that you can, this is not one of them, but buying the ones that you can actually remove with your finger through here as opposed to having to cut. I get the ones that are pretty high strength, but I have ones of different sizes. You really need to like get small to large. These are 14 inches long by 0.19 inches across. Got a bunch of different zip ties. Also recommend you pick up some 3M waterproof double-sided tape. It's always nice to have. And then that's it for that drawer. There we go. You'll notice that I'm not talking about my drills. That's because I'm not really a driller. I'll get a bolt started by hand, and then I will tweak it a little bit with the hand tools, and then only like the last 80% will I use a drill for. And but I don't use an impact drill. And then after that bottoms out, I then switch over to a torque wrench. And so I'm just not a fan of like taking a drill and sending it. That's just not my style. It used to be my style. Not anymore. So I'll walk through these. And remember, these are things that I grab for projects, and there's automotive stuff too, but I will say that these can come in handy if you are doing some heavier duty work, and if you're more professional than me, you could use some of this stuff. So we have impacts. These are all SAE size, so probably not, or some of these are metric, but metric and SAE mixed up. Again, these are 3/8 inch. I don't use these in the GS, these are for truck projects, so we can ignore that one. We have here, size 7 to 19, again, impacts, and some of these are all star patterns. So these are actually most commonly used for Volkswagen and then German BMW car projects. Some of these are going to be, I'm going to call out why these are important here. So most commonly used in this set is the T40 impact. So on the, I have another one here too that actually I'll show as well. That's what I used to buy. So I grabbed these two. Here's the T44. That's a T30, right? 27. Either way, the upper luggage rack for the GS has the T40s that are on the rear luggage frame, but they're hard to get to because they're underneath the rear luggage piece. And I'll show you. Let me just take you. Let's go mobile for a second. So these little bastards here that are hard to get to, I bought those for those two bolts because you just need a little bit of reach to get to them. I've used them for other projects too, but that's where I've used them the most. When I'm taking apart or removing a top case, I find that having that reach is nice. But this is not impact, the other one is. So I'm using an impact, I'll use that one. But these can be nice for reaching all kinds of stuff. So you're doing body panels and you need a little extra 2 or 3 inches of reach. These are great for that. Just don't send it, basically. Same thing, but in hex. So for some of the sockets that are 6-way or 5-way, not needed for this. This one, you're not going to need that one. This is the hex socket, but in millimeters versus SAE. I don't think we need to do this one. No, I mean, I had these just as a backup, but I've never used them. The wears are so good. These are kind of cheap, shitty, whatevers. So don't need those. This is also another Volkswagen BMW automotive thing, which is these triple squares that I was talking about. So like if you're removing a steering wheel from a BMW or a Volkswagen or a Volvo, you'll need these triple squares to do it. These M's, and they're just, that's why I bought them, for removing steering wheels. So not necessarily for BMW. Last thing is just a whole bunch of sockets. Again, mostly automotive work, but you've got size 10 all the way to 24 impact, and they're deep, which is huge. So if you're doing like wheels, for example, they're great for that. But again, don't need that for the GS. So really, the first one I showed you, which is those long-reaching T40s for those upper luggage racks, is what you'll need those for. So let's get this. There we go. So I think. Hi. So overall, it's not that much stuff. When I first bought my first BMW motorcycle, which was an 09 GSA, it needed its 12,000 mile service. I took it to a dealer and waited in the waiting room. 2 hours later, they gave me a bill for $700. And I went home. I paid the bill, obviously. Went home and I bought everything I would need to do my next oil change and valve check and air filter and stuff. And since then, I've been buying more tools as the project, you know, comes up. And when I bought my 2018 GSA over there, Rosie, that's when I started buying higher quality tools. I knew I needed at that point, I knew what I liked, and I wanted to buy sets that I knew I would use. And so I will say, like, you know, I'll put a list in the description. That list is an order of most used to like least used. And so like just buy the first 5 and then come out to that list if you would like to do, you know, more extensive projects. But for the most part, it's like good pair of snips, good quality driver, solid torque wrench. This is not an expensive torque wrench, but it goes up to 100 Newton meters of torque, 3/8 inch drive, made from Nico, which is what some of my my solid bits are made from. It works. I use this for pretty much everything on the GS except for like suspension components, frame mounted components. So, you know, brake calipers, wheels, exhaust, luggage, crash bars, all that stuff is fine for that one. So, you know, buy what you're going to need as you need it. And then just, I'll say that you'll probably spend $500 to confidently do 80% of the work on your bike you're going to need to do. That's before you buy a lift and lighting, other stuff, and a table and stuff like that. But if you spend $500, it's going to be cheaper than your 12,000 mile service. And then just buy your consumables from BMW. Go to your dealer, buy the oil filter there, and all the crush washers and stuff, and oil from them. Although I keep over here, because Motul is a sponsor of the channel, I keep Motul on hand for all my bikes. I just use Motul stuff because I get like 50% off Motul products. But you know, I think owning your own tools and doing your own work is really fulfilling. Great way to pass the winters by. And yeah, so if you want help with picking out a certain tool, drop me a comment or write me an email. I'll link these below. When you buy them through Amazon, I'll get a commission, like 2% back. But shop around. I think there's a tool website out there that sells Wera tools for the same price as Amazon, but they do a couple other like package deals. So just look around, type those Wera part numbers into Google, buy whatever's cheapest, as long as it's not a rip-off place, as long as it's the official dealer. Yeah, that's it. That really is it. So when I went into all the red and blue boxes over there, it's all extra stuff. Just go what I had on the table initially, and that's all you need to do your BMW work. Good quality bits, good quality driver, L keys, some vice grips, torque wrench, Loctite. One thing that you may need if you start getting into those frame-mounted components is a heat gun. You know, got this old Genesis $30 heat gun. It's 1,500 watts and 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Done. That's all you need. You'll start getting into stuff like, you know, multimeters. You know, I started doing automotive stuff, so I started getting into these big-ass bolts from, these are from Tractor Supply, from, what do you call it, Harbor Freight. And then, like I was saying earlier, I had to get this massive torque wrench for that F750 project once. So I got this gear wrench, 1/4 inch driver with the electronic readout. You know, stuff like that's going to happen over time. Don't start there. Don't buy everything. Just buy what you need for the current project. And then over time, you're going to find that you are needing something a little nicer, and you'll just go pick it up. And when it comes to Harbor Freight, people ask all the time, like, what about Harbor Freight? Let me just buy from them. They're cheap. It's fine. I will give you a Harbor Freight example. Let's go back to the camera real quick, and I'll show you. So we have here a Pittsburgh Pro wrench, and it's nice, well built. It's probably never going to break. But here's where they cheaped out. So on this Wera, if I attach a socket to this Wera, no matter where I attach this socket, any orientation, it's not going to come off. But if I attach a bit, a Pittsburgh bit, I gotta push this guy in, just comes right off. The reason why is all the Pittsburgh tools are only have a hole in one orientation. You have to be mindful of where you put the bit onto the socket, or it will just fall off into your engine bay and you've lost it. And so when it comes to Harbor Freight stuff, that's right. but if you turn it this way, it'll come right off every time. And it's just the way they do their stuff. It's just shitty. It's just cheap. So like you're gonna get a fine tool Harbor Freight. You're just gonna have to like be a little bit more sensitive to it's kind of a higher needs tool as opposed to just works every time. So your call. You'll probably save half the price by buying Harbor Freight. And if something breaks, you take it back to them and they replace it. So whatever. I don't have any vote on what you do, but last thing you're gonna need, these are $400 if you're doing your own oil changes, is a GS911. This comes with 10 VIN numbers for $399, meaning you can plug this into and do maintenance and error code pulls on 10 different BMW motorcycles before it will make you buy more codes. And so people might come over and be like, hey buddy, can I use your GS911? Yeah, sure, that'll be $20. Just one-time payment of $20. Just cover your ass so that when you know the 11th friend comes over, you've made enough from your other friends to buy more seats on this box. You can order more seats for these boxes without buying a new one. They'll sell you more licenses. But I've owned 5 BMWs, and there are 5 of my VINs are in use. And yeah, they're just nice. So get one of these as well, so you don't have your oil change light lit up on your bike. Cool. Enough rambling. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope this video was helpful. Links in the description for all this stuff. Ride safe and have fun working on your bikes.